Hello everyone, bringing you another unboxing video today, and this is looking at some more Irish kit which has arrived, very kindly gifted to me by another chap this time, John Shanahan, who's very kindly sent me what we're going to have a look at now. There's two boxes arrived attached together, so I'll be very interested to get into this and have a look at just what's turned up. So as you can see, we've not only got one box here, we've got another smaller box that came attached to it. I've removed all the outer cling film and everything that came on these, and I've just removed the tape from the top just to save a little bit of time and all the noise and faffing around that entails in the video. I'll move the big box to one side for the minute and we can have a look at the contents of the smaller box. So, what do we have in here? Good choice to have a look at this one first. We have a list of... Okay, so this here is a Mark 6, interestingly, which I wasn't aware of. Ooh, there we go. I wasn't aware of Ireland using, but it's this private purchase, so presuming this is a obviously British surplus purchased Mark 6 helmet. You can see the label in there. This is a 1986 dated example, and obviously the chin strap's been modified. We've got the chin strap from an Irish, presumably from an Irish issue, Israeli Orlight helmet. Interesting, quite different from the Mark 6 in having the quick release there as opposed to the press stud closure. So that's been fitted on there. That seems to fit quite well, really. The back strap there has been moved round. That's very interesting. And then obviously it has the UN cover on. And I think there's an Irish DPM cover underneath, as you can see. So it has both there. That's very interesting and a lovely thing to have. Thank you very much for that, John. Put that to one side. Some other goodies in here. We have an Irish Defence Forces, well, Irish Army beret for the regular forces, with obviously a black beret with a red backing to the badge there. And the badge, I think, oh, this is okay, like the badge I got previously, this is the problem with these Stay Brat badges. It's missing a lug, so that'll be another one to repair. As I say, I'm probably going to look at that in a future video, replacing the lugs on the badge which arrived previously. So that won't be a problem to fix and make it usable again. But that's a lovely thing to have. Thank you very much. That'll be very useful going forward, doing videos. Let's have a look at the list here. So movie prop emergency ration items. So we've got in here some different bits and pieces wrapped in bubble wrap. So what I'll do is I'll just unwrap these and then we'll come back and we'll have a look at them in a little bit more detail. Okay, so we have here what John believes to be a Reproduction Princess Mary gift tin, and this is full of insignia. Royal Regiment of Fusiliers, I think, obviously Royal Marine Light Infantry, and we have some Irish badges under here as well, which I think are all labelled. So yeah, sergeant's rank, private's rank again, as mentioned in the previous video. Excellent, that's fantastic. I may have to check, some of the stickers have come off these, but I will be able to research those regardless, so thank you very much for that. And a couple of movie prop items that John included for me, an early grenade, and we have here a reproduction of an emergency ration, cocoa concentrate on one end, beef on the other. So beef there, sorry, and cocoa on the other end. And I think this is fairly accurate to one of the patterns of emergency ration tin. Obviously you pulled in the centre and it opened up. The more typical one is sort of almost a lozenge shape, flatter oval cross section as opposed to round. But I think this is this is a fairly accurate reproduction of one of the patterns. I'll have to double check on that. Emergency rations are not my sort of early emergency ration tins like this are not my forte, so I will have to double check, but it's a lovely gift regardless. Thank you very much, John. So this is 1990s issue. So this is an Irish, according to the list John sent me, this is the respirator on issue to the Irish Army in the 1990s. It's beyond my knowledge of respirators in terms of where it comes from originally. I don't really know a huge amount beyond British respirators. I'm sure someone will tell me in the comments and I will find out in time. but I will have to, well, I've just researched it. The information will be readily available online, I'm sure, but I'm doing this blind, just opening the boxes up. We have the filter here as well, obviously. There's a 40mm filter there, as you can see. I have a feeling this may be Israeli, off the top of my head, but interesting respirator regardless. Something to have a look at in future, but an interesting thing to have. It would be carried presumably in the PLC haversack. Obviously Ireland was using PLCE in the 1990s, so yeah, I'd be interested to know the introduction date as well. I'll have to chat to John about this a bit more, but there we are, the respirator, 90s issue respirator. There's another reproduction item here as well, another item wrapped in bubble wrap, so I'll just have to open that up. Just give me one moment. So yes, as I thought, this is a reproduction jam tin bomb, which is I think based on a syrup tin looking at it, which is very similar to what was used at the time. Sort of a worn Tickler's marmalade label on there, and the fuse in the top. So that's an interesting thing to add to the sort of Great War items. And the final thing in this box here is something that sort of gives the game away for a little bit. Some of the other bits that I know are coming is an Irish destructive pattern material Boonie hat. If there's a label or a date in it, just says L, just large. There's no date, but that is Irish DPM camouflage, quite different from British DPM, different pattern itself, and obviously different colours, but quite an interesting camouflage material. And I understand there are some other bits of DPM uniform in the other box, so we'll have a look at that now. I'll move this one out of the way, bring the big box back in to the side here. Got too much in frame because it'll take up too much space, but so we have still in plastic packaging here what I believe to be a DPM smock, a Irish DPM smock, and as you can see here, using the similar sort of buttons as you see on Canadian kit and latterly Soldier 95. You see Defence Forces Ireland tape there, which is quite nice. Obviously with the cap badge, the badge reproduced there on the tape, which is nice. Obviously you would have a name tape on this side. And then we have obviously the tricolour on the arm there. So I've opened this up a little bit so we can have a look at some of the details. We have obviously position for a rank slide on the front here. The pocket flaps actually don't lead to anywhere, which is strange. So someone will have to explain that to me. We open this up here. The pockets are closed at the top. I don't know if these have been modified. And then you can get in them from this zip at the side here. Open it up. There we go. So big voluminous pockets on the chest there. Nice big hood with a wire in it at the top. You can see there, wire former in the hood there. And if we look at the bottom here, we've got two big lower pockets as well. Elasticated draw cord at the waist and at the hem, the bottom there. Obviously a flap, Velcro and button flap over a zip there. Quite a nice design of smock that, I have to say. And again, in this interesting, distinctive Irish camouflage. We'll move this to one side and have a look at what else has arrived in the box here. We've got some more Irish DPM stuff. A shirt here. Lay this out as best I can. There we go. Quite similar to the Soldier 95 shirt, but again made in Irish camouflage. Arm pockets and obviously the tricolour badge again. Got bellows chest pockets there. Another place for a rank slide to be worn, and you've got the small Canadian pattern buttons as used on Soldier 95 uniform as well. So that's a lovely thing as well. Issue condition, very lightly worn condition. And I think, what have we got here? This U-back shirt, yes, that was on the list as well. So underbody armour shirt. The sleeves made of ripstop, and then obviously the more breathable fabric for the main body. The Velcro pockets on the arms, Velcro areas to attach insignia there as well, and the cuffs have the sort of let's say the Canadian pattern buttons there again. So that's a very interesting thing too. Move that to one side. There's quite a bit left in here. This is amazing. Thank you very much indeed for this John. It's absolutely fantastic, just the sheer quantity of stuff there is. So another pair of Irish combat trousers, these based on 1960 pattern of course, but these are fairly early ones, so these are 1985, which is the earliest date I've seen for this pattern of uniform. The one you've seen in the previous video obviously was 90s dated, and they were worn right the way through the 1990s, but I believe introduced around 1985. What size are these ones? Size 3, so quite a large size, these ones. And I say interesting design. I think these may have had the buttons changed, or this is just an earlier pattern of button that was used on these. But another pair of those trousers, which is fantastic. These ones do have draw cords in the ankle and so forth, so that's interesting from that point of view. Irish issue GS shirt, and I'm assuming this is unissued. It's pinned together at the back here, and that's good. It's quite a large size, I think, but it should be fine for wear under combat uniform. But it's similar to the British GS shirt, but I believe if we can open this up enough to see, the pockets are pleated, so you have a pleat in the pockets there rather than just being plain patch pockets. So that's a lovely item. Again, looks like it's unissued. The other part of the combat uniform here looks like, open this up, let's have a look here. So this is a 1998 dated example again, but a size 2, so slightly bigger than the other one. And this again is the smock based on the 1960 pattern design. So you've got the stitched collar there, the zip pockets at the chest, as opposed to those found on the actual British 1960 pattern, but the lower pockets are very similar, obviously, with a pleated front and button through flap there, obviously the elbow reinforcement and so forth as well. As I say, this will be covered in a future video talking about it and probably comparing it directly to 1960 pattern, because that's what it derives from. And wow, I wasn't expecting this. I buried my list somewhere, but I believe this is Irish greatcoat. Let's have a look here. So it is an overcoat essentially. We've got the insignia on the arm there, so private first class. You have to forgive me, I'm not au fait with Irish formation badges yet, but I will learn in time, I'm sure. So coat number 95, size 9, 5'4". Hydrofast, I'm assuming, is the manufacturer, and the date is 93. So that's nice. We've got the let's see, I don't know if we can get that to there. You've got the IV, which is Irish Volunteers, each side of the harp for the buttons there, in Stay Bright obviously, and in this greener colour you've got a back belt there, which is purely decorative. The buttons don't do anything but give the impression of an older style of overcoat, and as I say, in this greener material, which is typical of Irish uniform. Irish uniform has always been very much a greener shade than British, and that's maintained in their dress uniform items and so forth. So that's an overcoat. I'll let that hang out and give it a bit of a press. But that's lovely. And as I say, thank you very much again, John, for all of this stuff. It's absolutely fascinating just to get hold of some new kit from a sort of an area I've not really collected massively before, and it's going to be interesting learning about the areas of this that I don't yet know about. So thank you very much indeed once again. And a final thing to look at, which I've actually had to come back to look at, I found this after I'd finished filming. John has very kindly included a packing list for both pack, pockets and so forth on the combat jacket and the equipment. And then we also have underneath a couple of kit layout diagrams, which is rather useful as well. So thank you very much for including those, John. They'll be a very useful piece of reference material going forward as I continue to learn more about Irish issue kit. So there we are. Thank you very much again, John, for that. The incredible collection of military arrived there. The Irish DPM is unusual and somewhat difficult, to find. Certainly the smocks and the shirts don't turn up as much as the trousers do, and it's somewhat sought after, I think, and obviously an interesting comparison with British camouflage and other nations' camouflage patterns. And obviously some of the green combat uniform and stuff will definitely be coming up in future videos in terms of comparing kit and so forth. So thank you very much once again, John, for that. If you'd be interested to see those videos in the future, please do consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. And whether you're newly subscribing or you've already subscribed, do make sure you
hit the little bell, the little notification button down below, which will of course alert you when I upload future videos. There is also, if you really like my uploads, there's the chance to support the channel through both Patreon and PayPal. They're linked down below as well. And as usual, a massive thank you to everyone who supports the channel via those two methods as well. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you very much indeed. There's also social media for the channel. There's Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, which you can see photographs from the collection, various other bits and pieces, sneak peeks, things like that. And should you wish to contact me, but you don't use social media, there's also an email address down below as well. But that's everything I wanted to cover in this video, so until next time, bye for now.